Welcome to the conversation with Nick Chandley. We have here this morning a global education phenomenon known as Brendan Mitchell. So we'll just have a little chat with Brendan and find out what inspires him and how he inspires everybody else. Welcome to the conversation, Brendan.
Thank you for that exorbitant introduction. Nick, I would say that you're more the global educational inspiration rather than myself.
No, we live in your shadow, Brendan. Tell me, Brendan, what is it about your early schooling and upbringing that led you to this point now?
I'm not too sure. I grew up a little bit of my life when I was very young in Sydney, Australia, and then in Wellington, New Zealand. I did a few years of primary school, actually just round the corner in a place called Miramar North on Darlington Road, which was just round the corner from what is now Weta Studios, Peter Jackson from the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. But it was a very different suburb back then and to what it is now. And then I was extremely fortunate enough, no disrespect to New Zealand of course, to move to Melbourne, Australia in the late 1970s, where I was able to complete primary school and go on to government high school there, which was a fantastic experience, really, really great. Vermont High School, which is now Vermont Secondary College.
And did you have, as you were growing up in these various places, if I asked you now to remember one teacher, who would that be?
Oh, plenty. I was extremely fortunate with teachers all through primary school and high school. Fantastic grade 4 teacher, Mr. Smith, mathematician. I know that he inspired a lot of students over the years to pursue STEM type subjects, and many of them have done really, really well. The physical education teacher was very good there, and then going into high school, I was fortunate. The government high school I went to was very, very good. Both all-round education. Some very good educators. I remember a number of them in particular. John Shaw's economics teacher, Mr. Madigan, legal studies teacher, phenomenal. Taught me. I can still remember many things that he taught us, such as Donahue v. Stevenson, 1932. You ever want to learn about the basics of contract law? It's all there. And numerous teachers. The leadership at the school is fantastic as well. One of my geography teacher there, Mr. Jacobs, he actually left the high school teaching for a while and went and became a policeman, then went back to the high school and is now the principal of the high school where I went to high school.
So you've had lots of inspirational teachers. What is it, do you think, what quality do they all possess that you think makes them inspirational? What makes a teacher inspirational?
Back then, education was different to what it is now. I would say a lot of the pedagogies are a little bit different, and perhaps some of the ways of the governance of the school and its mirrored sort of societal changes. They were good, they were innovative. We were doing a lot of, even in high school, we were doing action research and were required to produce quantitative and qualitative reports through there. Some of the other things I've mentioned, the legal studies teacher, Mr. Madigan, he had incredible knowledge, content knowledge, and the way he was able to impart that knowledge so it stuck with you. Now, legal studies tends to be a little bit of application, but a huge amount of memorization to be able to almost regurgitate it. You've got to remember what precedent is, and to be able to present that in a way where you can memorize it takes a lot of skill.
So I'm getting the picture that inspirational teachers have a range of qualities that's hard to pin down to one thing.
For sure, but I wish you would have been my primary school teacher as well. I think you would have been absolutely, I know you would have been brilliant, across a huge range of students.
Well, that's very kind to say, but let's come back to you, because that's why we're here. So you went through your schooling, and then I seem to remember that you're now all around the world. What took you on your travels and into the various places?
Oh, I wasn't a trained teacher in Australia when I finished high school. I'd worked the majority of my life since I was about 10 years old. And when I finished high school, I took a year off. And I went and worked for the bank, the Bank of Victoria, which went under and sucked up by the Commonwealth Bank. Australia's leading bank still is today. And I enjoyed the interaction with people. They knew I wasn't going to stay on there, and moved me into a corporate teller role there and didn't teach me the ledgers because I wasn't going to commit to them. So I enjoyed the interaction with the people. Then I went to university. I did a double major in human resource management and training and accounting. During that time, I worked over the course of that time, predominantly hospitality roles. I then became a qualified commercial cook and worked and ran large hospitality enterprises, both front of house, back of house, full overall management. That's where I learned project management skills and the ability to be able to deliver under pressure, but without blowing a fuse, if you like. We've seen a few cooking shows come and go over the last few years. You watch references, you see Mr. Ramsay going crazy on the TV, but then you see him in the professional sense where he goes in there and mentors and works with the people. That's where you see the best of them. Yeah, so then after that, I was going to go to Perth in Australia. I got off the plane and sort of a sliding doors moment. You can read more about this on one of my blogs, actually. There's a few dedicated to this sliding doors moment and the choice of opportunity, similar to that video you showed the other day, where that student says, you've got a coin, you can only spend it once. It's like a life. You've got to make that choice and weigh up the pros and cons of your decisions and take responsibilities for those decisions. So if I had have stayed in Perth, reasonably well qualified, a pretty good worker, the mining boom was just about to kick in there in the 1990s. I would have had a good life there in terms of being economically sustainable. A couple of really good AFL footy teams there, so I like that. The Wacker, which is no more, the really fast cricket ground. So yeah, good there. But then I jumped on a plane and I went to Asia. And then I did a few truckload of postgraduate degrees, and that's why I never have anything around my name, because I'm the clown. And I've done programs at Cambridge, Columbia, and a whole lot of other things. And I've been very, very fortunate and very blessed. I've got to meet and do things that people only dream about, and that's a privilege. And having that privilege means that I've got to take responsibility for that privilege and try and give something back from that privilege that I've been given. Sure, I've worked for it, and I've worked really hard for it, but I get to meet amazing people every day of my life. The other day I met you for the first time. You're an incredible person. I want to say the word incredible bloke, but the world's changing, isn't it? So being able to give something back, whether I'm able to do it content-wise, maybe teach someone a new skill, or maybe give them that belief within themselves, that they can do it if they apply themselves, and make them show people see that life can be fun, and you've got opportunity to make it what you will. I'm very well aware some countries don't, and some people in some countries don't have those opportunities, and I think about how I could perhaps contribute to them as well. You never know what I'm trying to do now. We've heard colleagues this morning that invest in their organisations. If I ever make any money out of what I do with a hobby, maybe I'll just give that to a scholarship fund, or perhaps probably better. The scholarship probably go to the wrong person. It's a bit cynical. I'm a bit jaded, aren't I, Nick? Perhaps invest in materials for schools or something.
Okay, I've got 3 short things to finish off with that I want to ask you.
Foster's?
Nothing to do with beer.
That's meat pie with soggy peas on the top, is it?
Nothing to do with food. Just 3 short things
out.
I want to talk to you about this morning. And one is just building on what you've just said there. In my short experience of you in the last few days, I've seen that you're a very giving person. You're a very benevolent person. You're very caring. And I get a feeling that you would much rather, you feel it's more important to give than to receive. Would that be a fair assumption?
Oh, for sure. Especially at where I am in life, you know, I'm educated. I have opportunities, and I've had opportunities, and the world's changing, and the future's not me, but I can inspire and I can help the future. Whatever I can give to them, you know, I've seen over the last few days, you and your colleagues, you do it more than what I do. You know, far more. You know, you're on the. I don't like to use the word coal face. I don't know another word. You're on the front line of education for both teachers and students. But I'll try to do the little piece of what I can do with what I've got. You know.
Well, that's very obvious when anybody spends any time in your company, that you like to care about other people. So that just, the second point I want to make, or to ask you about, builds on that, is that I've noticed we can walk down the street and people you've never met before, you go to them and you shake their hand and you call them brother. Why do you do that?
Oh, because I want to see them, I want to know them, I want to say hello to the people, you know. Sure, I call myself the monkey and the clown, you know. I like people, you know, I like people, and I want to see people. You know, some of them I might have seen them before, but I want to shake their hands. The world should be a friendlier place, and you know, you see a smiling face, and I'll try to give them that. They smile back if someone smiles at you. Not everywhere, but I wish it was. You might notice where you are, where you come from, and I notice when I go back to where I grew up. Got to get my grammar right. I'm going to have a look at Grammarly again. People aren't like that so much anymore. I know you and some of your colleagues have spoken that you come from villages, and I think that they'd be far more friendlier places. And I noticed that in England. I noticed people were friendly, kind, and willing to help when I was in the smaller places. London's different. It's a million miles an hour. But some of the Australia and New Zealand, maybe they don't smile and greet each other as much as what they possibly once did. Definitely once did, not possibly, definitely once did.
Okay, thank you. And my final point is, you've already referred to this, that your colleagues here, probably through your initiation, know you as the monkey. For good reasons, I've seen. You're a very charming and very fun kind of person to be around. But if you had your choice of any animal to be, what would it be?
Oh, that's a difficult one. You know, because I quite like eating, and I see if I was a cow, I could just walk around and eat grass all day, but that doesn't really taste very good. Yeah, I do. They have the nickname in a number of countries, the monkey, and monkeys can be a little bit innovative, maybe a little bit playful, and I try to make the work environment a fun place to be around, and where people enjoy coming to work, because it is, it's fun, it's enjoyable, but in that enjoyable atmosphere and fun atmosphere creates productivity, also develops creativity, strengthens teamwork and strengthens collaboration, and it really helps balance out and flatten out organisational relationships as well. And particularly in the roles that I am in here and other roles that I've had in here, one of my goals and one of the reasons that I'm here is for capacity and capability building, but also skill transfer. And people will pick it up and are far more receptive and will take ownership for their decisions in their lives in a more relaxed, if you like, atmosphere, but still extremely professional.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the conversation with Brendan the Monkey Mitchell. I hope you've learned as much as I've learned in the time that I've spent with Brendan. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you.